To my channel, Tammy Talks here. Let's talk This Is Us Season 6, Episode 1, The Challenger. So we are into the farewell final season of This Is Us, and I think This Is Us is one of the most well-written shows that is on TV, that has been on TV. The writing, the acting, the casting, it's just that everything is so perfectly done on this show. Everything is very interwoven, just seamlessly on the show. So let's start off with the final season. So if you are brand new to my channel, I do TV show breakdowns with my own commentary and opinions. If you enjoy that type of content, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads, and hop into the comment section. Let's talk about this, y'all. So I don't want to do like a play-by-play for This Is Us because so much stuff happens on every episode. So the way I'm going to do these recaps is just going to kind of be main things that I think stuck out to me throughout the episode. So let's go person by person, right? So let's start with Rebecca. Rebecca's whole thing this episode is, we notice she is suffering from cognitive memory loss. So she's starting to lose more and more bits and pieces of her memory, harder for her to remember certain words. We saw last season when she started to, it was something simple as her like misplacing her phone. And it started to get, you know, progressively worse. So we're at a point now where it's, I think 2 years later. It might be 2 years later, or it's not 2 years later. It's about 3 to 6 months later, I believe. So it's getting a little worse, but I mean, she's still very functioning, right? So the entire episode, she is trying to think of the word caboose. So she's hanging out with baby Jack and Kate's daughter, and she's with these kids, and they're at, I think, like the park or the zoo, and they're talking about the train because they're on a train ride. And she's trying to tell them the story of how her and her dad would take the train, and they would go back and forth, and they would walk the entire length of the train. And she would mention how they would walk all the way to the back to the, and she could not think of the word caboose. So she's, one of her memories that she had was her reading a book called Caboose to, you know, the big three when they were kids. And she could not think of the word caboose. And it was like stressing her out the entire episode. So that's really what we're seeing from Rebecca. Every scene is her like doing her damnness to figure out and to remember what that word was. So let's switch over to Randall. Randall worked on my last nerve this episode. And I know this is Randall's personality, but oh, it gets so annoying. So it's their birthday, as usual. When the season starts off, it's typically always their birthday. So Randall gets an email that they have found the guy that broke into their house last season. They found a guy that broke into their house, and he's being arraigned. So he wants to go to the court hearing. And Beth told him, you can either hang out with me, your sexy, gorgeous wife, for your birthday and have your way. I'll be your genie in a bottle type. Or you can go down to the courthouse. Of course, Randall goes down to the courthouse, and he wants to talk to the man. And the man seems to not even be, you know, the man's not there altogether mentally. So it's kind of like, he didn't target you specifically. So Randall is talking to this guy, and it's like, do you know who I am? Do you know what I did? You scared my family. And it's like, Randall, this man don't care about that. And you hate to say it that way, but that man did not care. The man didn't care. And Randall was like, well, I'm going to get you some help and do all this extra. So Randall goes home, and he tells Beth that he bailed the man out, and he's going to get the man into a treatment center because he feels like he needs to be doing more for the people in the community that are at a disadvantage because of, you know, drugs, or, you know, below the poverty level, or just life circumstances that have gotten them to the point where they're living on the street and robbing and doing all this other type of stuff. So as we all knew and we all figured, that man did not show up. So it's just kind of like, it ties into something that Rebecca said later in the episode, that she was talking to Jack earlier in the episode, and she tells him Randall is going to have this amazing life like very successful and stuff, but is going to be riddled with perpetual disappointments. And it's because Randall constantly sets himself up for these disappointments. And we saw that this episode. Excuse me. Why are you going to not only go to the arraignment, but why are you going to bail out this man and try to get him into a treatment center? That man went out and now he's out back on the street. So it's kind of like, Randall, you might have thought what you were doing was good, but you ultimately just put a criminal back on the streets. So we see Kevin. Kevin is still living with Madison, but now he's living in the garage. After, they did not get married last season, they've decided that, they were kind of forcing the issue because they had kids. So he is living in her garage, and it's like, oh, Kevin, why can't you just... I almost kind of want Kevin to be like, let me buy a house and like live next door or something. But it is so weird to me that Kevin, it's like a cat walking on it. But it was so weird to me that Kevin is like living in her garage. So they have this co-parenting situation, and we see throughout the episode, Madison is like low-key dating, not dating someone, but she is like feeling somebody to the point where she's like kind of in a pseudo relationship with that person, and she doesn't even know. Kevin gets a call to see if he wants to go back and reboot the Manny, and it's like the age of reboots. He doesn't want to do it. Kevin doesn't want to be back in that role. He wouldn't be the Manny, he would be the father. And he meets up with the producer of the show. I think he was the producer or the director, and he was just kind of like, you blew up my career. So us bringing you back in to do this, you're going to get a shitload of money. I'll get a shitload of money. But it's kind of like we have to work together again. So Kevin now has to make some type of decision as to what he wants to do for his career. Kate is having some differences with Toby because of distance. So Toby took the job, I believe it's either San Diego or San Francisco. So on her birthday, she's used to, Toby always being there. Toby's not there because he's at work. So he calls her that morning, and it's a very, very rushed. It's a very rushed, happy birthday, miss you, gotta go because people are coming to my office type deal. So, but he arranges for her to have a masseuse, and her mom and Miguel were going to keep the kids all day so she can just have a nice afternoon to relax. While she's having that relaxing afternoon, she gets a call from the teacher that she works with at the school for the blind kids. So when she gets there, they sing her this beautiful song. It's like a happy birthday type deal. And we kind of start to see the sparks fly between Kate and I cannot remember his name. But we know ultimately they end up married. So we don't know what led to that, but we can see that this is like the start of that. The end of the episode, Toby does come, but there have been cracks in their relationship for a very long time now. The basis of the episode is about the Challenger, which is the spacecraft, the space shuttle that exploded on live national television back in '86, killing, I believe it was like 6 or 7 different astronauts. So it kind of shows the way that the big three took that as kids, it propels to how they react to things as adults. So Kate's little Kate's aspect was maybe they're just up there with Splishy and Splashy, which were their goldfish from back in the day. So she kind of has more of a upbeat, optimistic type of view of life. Randall was like, they have families, they have kids. So he's more of I don't want to say more of a humanitarian, but Randall is more of an empath. He feels what other people are feeling, and he's one of those people that he wants to go out and help everybody. He wants to save everybody that he can. And then we have Kevin, who was just kind of like, it wasn't real. It was just a show on TV. It was a commercial. So Kevin is someone who does not like to deal with issues as they really happen. He's more of a out of sight, out of mind type of person, or he creates these scenarios in his head where it's make believe, this didn't really happen, whatever. So it kind of shows how they dealt with things as children, how it transcended into how they deal with things now as adults. Phenomenal episode. We see at the end, Kevin has now moved in with Kate for the time being to stay with her. When he came home from his birthday dinner with Kate, he saw that she had another guy over. So she's like, not dating, but she's spending time with this guy. He realized that what they were doing was crazy. He told Kate that he is going to accept the role to reboot the Manny. And we'll see what happens from there. But again, absolutely love This Is Us. Let me know how you guys felt about tonight's episode.